Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my pronunciation practice series. We're on class number 19, and today we're going to work on breaking speech into units. We're going to look at a new monologue, practice the old one, and see what we can learn from today's class. We're going to apply it to the one that we're learning today. Let me just see if I can, whoops. Let me see if I can get my screen share working. There we go. I'll try to block the sunlight. So, I'll tell you what, hang on just a second here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I've put the text into the shared document, the Google Doc that we're going to share today, that is. I'm going to paste that into the chat window for you. Hang on just a second. Let me get my computer in order. Let me see if I can get this working first. There we go. And by the way, just in case you have any doubts that I'm a Verbling teacher, today I've got my Verbling teacher t-shirt, so you can't make any mistake. Got it? Let's say a quick hello to Vitor. Nice to have you back, Vitor. Hello, Vitor. Are you there? I don't hear Vitor. So let's say hello to, looks like Tony. Hello, how are you?
Hi, teacher. I am fine. And you?
Very good, very good. Hey, is anything wrong with the Hangout on your end? Because I don't hear Vitor, so I want to make sure there's no technical problems on your side. Everything okay? From what you see?
I think everything is okay for me.
Okay, all right. So, I just pasted the link to our shared document, and as always, I'll share my screen first, at least in the beginning, so that you can see it. All right, when you get it open, you'll see our graphic for pronunciation practice. And if you scroll down, I've separated our tools away from the classes. So we've got 5 pronunciation tools that we're working with, and we'll go over them as we use them today. 3 reference charts. Everything is there for you on page 2. Today's class is not listed yet. Let me update this, and you'll see today's class. It will magically appear. Whoops. There we go. 19, a monologue from Girl Interrupted. The character Susanna Winona Ryder, but our class is actually about breaking speech into meaningful units. Okay? So what we're going to do is read the monologue once, see if we understand it, analyze the first few sentences, and we're going to put in a series of little bars or slashes to try to divide the words into units. This is a really good skill. In other words, how we change our intonation. We're going to represent that with these bars. Let me just give you an example here before we do anything else. Give me 1 second here. I've got to get my PDF working. 1 second, please. I want to give you a sentence or 2 to practice with before we do anything. 1 second. Okay. So as we speak, we divide words into groups depending on the meaning and emphasis that we want to give. So I think what I'm going to do here is give you one example to try before we even listen to this. Let me see if I can copy and paste this. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to give you the text, and then we're going to divide it up I just need to copy and paste it first. You will see it in just a minute. Sorry about this. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to have you read this first. I think that's a better way to do this. I'm going to have you read this first. So let me just label our monologue here, monologue, so we don't get that confused. And we're going to call this exercise 1. Okay, and notice the text that I just pasted for you. In fact, I'm going to get rid of all the punctuation like this. Just put it together. And let me correct that. Okay, now what I want you to do is read it silently to yourself first. Make sure that you understand it while I make a few corrections. And then I want you to read it back to me out loud. Maybe we can do 1 line each, because it's 2 lines, and decide where we're going to break up the words, where we're going to group them into meaningful units. Okay? So, take a minute, let's read it silently, make sure we understand it. In fact, hopefully you understand everything now. I'm going to ask you a question or two, and I'm going to give you a picture. Take a look at this. So, Tony, how does that picture relate to exercise 1, to the text? How does that explain or show what's going on in the text? What happened in the text? Oh, you can't see the picture because Google Chrome is not behaving. 1 second. Sorry. I'll share my screen again. Sorry about that. Now you can see it. Okay. So let's start with you. How does that picture relate to the text in exercise 1? What do you think, Tony?
Yes, I was reading the mono, so I have to read the exercise 1.
So how does that illustrate the text? What happens in the text in exercise 1? Yeah, forget about the monologue for just a second. Read exercise 1. It's really short.
Yes. In the picture, there is a man with the picture of an elephant on his back,
Okay. So that's an
we read in
illustration
the
of the text in exercise 1. First, what happened? Yeah.
that when the guy was a child, stuck a picture of an elephant on the back of his
And
dad.
why does he have a picture of an elephant on his back? What happened to him?
That when that everyone was laughing.
Absolutely.
Until
There you go.
he
So everyone was laughing at him on the way to work. Okay. So that's right. That's right. So let's do this. Tony, you're going to take the first line. You're going to take the first line. Victor, you're going to take the second line, and what I want you to do is read it back to me, but I want you to pause wherever you think the pauses should be. In other words, where you think there's a more stressed word, where you think the emphasis is, you're going to pause after those words, and we're going to compare your version to my version as a native speaker, okay? So if you like, you can hear me do it first and then repeat what I say, or you can try it as an experiment and then we'll correct you. What do you prefer?
I would like to read first.
Okay, so Victor, take the first line, and
Okay.
we'll let Tony take the second line, and pause where you think it should be paused. Go for it.
Line, you mean example or just first line? From I can to before he.
That's right. Take that line. From I can't to before he.
Okay. I will read out loud. Yes.
You will read out loud, and you will put in a pause.
Okay.
Where you think it's necessary.
Okay. Let me start.
Go for it.
I can remember as children we were rather
naughty.
Naughty. Once we stuck a picture of an elephant on the back of that coat. Before.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Repeat. Dad's coat.
Dad's coat. That's
coat. It. So 2 words. Rather naughty.
Yeah.
Rather naughty.
Rather
naughty.
Rather naughty. Rather
good.
Naughty. Yes.
And again, dad's coat.
Dad's coat.
Very good. And I heard 2 pauses when you were reading after remember and as children, and between naughty and once. So I put in those double bars to show the pause.
Right? I didn't read it before. I wanted I wanted to read in the first time and feel how when I read in the first time how I feel the text, because after second time when I read I maybe feel the stresses in another place. But this place I would like to stay.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll keep it for now. We're going to compare. We're going to compare your version to my version in any case.
Okay.
All right. And let's see if there's anyone else here. Oh, look, we got Giuseppe as well. So, Tony, let's see. Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. So you take the second line. If you like, you can start from the very beginning and use what Victor did and then continue to the very end of the second line. Okay? Are you ready?
I can start. I can start again if I don't like this version.
Sure. If you want to change it, sure. Yes. You do it how you think it's best.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Let's do this.
Okay. I will go. I will go.
Let's do this. Let's give you a separate version. Let me create a separate version for you, and I'll put in different pauses if you have different pauses. Okay? So look at the second text. I'm going to put it in blue so we can separate your version. Victor, I'll give you a second chance as well. Okay? But let's change the color here. Okay, Victor, try the one in blue, and I'll put in the pauses where I hear them. Okay?
Okay. I can remember as a children, we were rather naughty. Once we stuck a picture of an elephant on the back of Dad's coat before he went out. Of course, he couldn't see it, so he didn't know why everyone was laughing at him until he got to work and took it off.
Okay, very good. So I put in the pauses now between children and we, naughty and once, out, and of course, it, so he did, and finally between him and until. Okay? Did I do it right? Tony? Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's right.
Okay. All right. And I'm not going to do this a third time, even though we have Giuseppe. Giuseppe, I'll give you a chance to do something else in just a minute. But the reason is because I want to do this just as an illustration. So now I want you to listen to my version, okay? And I want you to tell me if my version is different than your version in any way. If you think that I'm saying it as a native speaker in any way different than yours, listen carefully and tell me what you think. Here we go. I can remember as children, we were rather naughty. Once, we stuck a picture of an elephant on the back of Dad's coat before he went out. Of course, he couldn't see it, so he didn't know why everyone was laughing at him until he got to work and took it off. Listen a second time, and this time we're going to compare. I can remember as children we were rather naughty. Once, we stuck a picture of an elephant on the back of Dad's coat before he went out. Of course, he couldn't see it, so he didn't know why everyone was laughing at him until he got to work and took it off. So what do you think? Is my version different than your version, Giuseppe? What do you think? Compared to what we just heard, do you think I have different pauses, or was it the same?
Not really the same.
Not really the same, yeah. There's
You
one.
you put some pauses too.
Can you pick out one detail that was different than Victor or Tony?
Yeah. After once pause.
After, say again,
Once,
after what?
Once.
After once, that's true. That was the big one, isn't it?
Yes.
So I agree, and that's a good point, because once, by changing my voice, I completely changed the meaning of the text. Once begins a story. So were there any other points you wanted to make, Giuseppe? Because I want to...
After coat.
After coat,
Coat.
right. Good.
And after couldn't see it.
That's true.
And after so, another pause.
After so, another pause, yeah. Okay, here we go. Take a look at the final version here. I'm going to paste it. I'll put it in a different color so you can see it as well. Let's put it in kind of maroon or whatever this color is. There we go. Okay, so this is more or less how I did it. Let me try to get this on one line. You're right, there was one after so, which I didn't put in there. Let me add that. So. There we go. I'm going to put the words in bold, which I think are important. So and once, those are really important. Yeah, it's really just those two. The other ones are important pauses, but those are especially important. Giuseppe, let me keep talking to you on this one, because you were talking about the changes. Why do you think I'm putting special emphasis on once and so? What do you think? What's different about those words than the others?
I think it's like a bridge between one small story and another small story.
Absolutely. The word is not bridge, the word is connector. These are
Yes,
connectors.
Yes, connector. I mean connector.
That's it. And so, as I mentioned earlier, once begins a story.
Yes, yes.
And so doesn't begin a story, but it basically ends the story. It gives the result.
Yes, it's like small sentence in a big sentence.
Absolutely. In fact, we have a word for that too. These are called speech units. That's the name of the small sentence. Speech units.
For example, in my language, in this case, we put the comma, but I don't know. In English, we use the comma. Can we use the comma?
Not like that. Yeah, not like that. English is really bizarre. English is very strange when it comes to punctuation. It follows different rules. So we don't put a comma where we pause. We only put a comma basically to join sentences together. It's called a comma splice. So if you have the word for, and, or, but, or, yet, so, although, because, these kind of connectors will have a comma before them if they're connecting two sentences together. So you're right, Victor. It's different. Other languages use it more like a phonetic marker to say, okay, here's where the emphasis is. But we don't. That means if you're just reading a text, you have no idea what the author intended. You really need to listen to it as well as reading it. Or you need to have enough experience that you can basically guess where the stress is. So you're looking for speech units, and that means grouping words into meaningful units or emphasis.
Yeah, get it.
Or grouping by emphasis. Okay, so there's our definition. So what I want to do is give you a few examples, and then we're going to try to analyze this monologue. Then you're going to try the monologue on your own. And if you did the one last week, we can hear your performance if you'd like to do the one, if you're working on the one from last week. So basically, here's what I want to say. Although there are no rules about how we divide speech into units, some words are more likely to go together than others. This is what I'm saying. If you have enough experience, you can start to guess. So let me give you an example here using this text. Okay, let's go down to the next page. I'm going to give you one or two examples and one or two exercises. So here's example one. Vitor, why don't you read this one for us and notice the difference in stress? Okay, can you see where we are?
Yes.
Okay. So read the two examples.
We took a picture of elephant. It's more likely than. It's more likely than.
This one, there's a little mistake here. 1 second. That should be 2 bars. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely than what?
We took a picture of elephant, or we took a picture of an elephant. Yeah.
So listen to me on this one, okay?
Yes.
Notice how my voice changes.
Mm-hmm.
We stuck a picture of an elephant. Now that is more likely than we stuck a picture of an elephant, or we stuck a picture of an elephant. So what happens to my voice in the first example? We stuck a picture of an elephant. Can you hear the change?
Yes, of course.
What am I doing with my voice on of an elephant?
Your elephant a little bit. Oh, your voice. Sorry, a little bit down.
Exactly,
a little bit down. Yes.
Right. My voice. We can say your voice drops. It goes down. It drops. Yeah, my voice drops on of an elephant because of an elephant is an adjective that describes the kind of picture. It's a description. So it's like a detail. That's why we would never separate it between a and picture, because we stuck a picture is one unit. Of an elephant describes the last word in that unit. So that's one of the patterns you can start to get used to. We would never separate the words there. And Tony, here's another example here. Give me just a second. What I want to say here is sometimes the division of speech into groups or units can make a big difference in the meaning. So let's see if we can look at another example of that. So we're going to call this was example 1. Tony, I want you to look at example 2 right here. 1 second. All right. in example 2, you're going to read them differently, okay? And then you're going to tell me which one sounds a little bit better. Can you see the difference between the two texts?
Okay. We were rather naughty. Once we took a picture of an elephant.
Okay,
We
and
were
the
rather
second one?
naughty once. We were rather naughty once. We took a picture of an elephant.
Okay.
And I
So
think the correct
what's the
one is
difference?
the first one.
Right. And why is that one correct? You're
Because
absolutely right.
because once
In other words,
is a stressed word.
that's true. It's a connector. It's a stressed word. And look at the difference in meaning. Look at the difference. We were rather naughty once. We stuck a picture of an elephant. Listen to that compared to the first one. We were rather naughty. Once, we stuck a picture of an elephant. So in the first example, once begins a new idea. The word once begins a new idea. In the second one, it does not begin a new idea, so the meaning is totally different. Once describes when we were naughty. Okay, so there are two different concepts. Both are possible. Both are possible. In this case, the correct one is number 1 because that's the way that I read it, but both are possible. They just have different meanings. Okay? Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was just sneezing there. I had to turn off my microphone. I'm back. Let me see what else do I want to say. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. What I want to do is, okay, one last thing here. Let me just give you one last example. I want you to look at these 3 examples. I'm going to put this under exercise 3, EX3. Okay, Giuseppe, take a look at exercise 3. It's actually, there you go. What I want you to notice is this. Within a speech unit, words are usually linked together without pauses between them. So we've done a lot of linking in the past, but notice how this linking takes place inside of a unit, not between the units. So I gave you 3 examples, and the second example is not the letter J, it's that magic, what I call the magic Y or magic W sound. Okay? So can you read examples for me, trying your best to use the linking that you see?
I can remember as a children. Of course, I couldn't see yet.
Wait. Go back 1 second. Don't add an extra vowel. Be very careful. So,
As children.
Yeah, because you said as children. So as children. Okay. So there you've got the R and the vowel being connected. Remember. In American English, I suppose it wouldn't be so strong. British English, it might be a little stronger. I can remember raz. Raz. I can remember as children. Remember ra. So the R transfers to the next word. Okay?
Okay.
And what about, keep going.
Of course, I couldn't see it.
Good. Couldn't see yet. Good.
Until got to work.
Until he got to work. So here in American English, it would be a d, like dog. Gotta work.
Gotta work.
British English, got to work. Okay, that's it. So that linking that we've been, that's like tool number 3, the link it up tool, if I remember right. Tool number 3 occurs inside a speech unit, but not between speech units. So let's practice these ideas. Let me see if I can give you an example here. Yeah. I'm going to give you 3 examples, 1 for each. going to call this exercise 4. You'll see it there. Yep, it's there on page 11. Okay, there we go. I'll move the monologue down to page 12. And I don't have I can't play the audio, so I'm going to have to read this myself. So hang on just a second so that I read this exactly the right way. 1 second. 32. I wish I could play the audio in the class. It would make things a little easier, but it's tricky. So give me just a second because I want to make sure I read this the same way every time, so I need to look at the transcription myself. Okay, here we go. Got it. So Tony, no, I'm sorry. Victor, you're first, then Tony, and Giuseppe, you're next. And who's there in the middle? I can't see that. Oh, Nora. There we go. Now I can see you. Okay. Nice to have you back, Nora.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you're just joining us now, we're looking at how to break speech up into units. And what we decided was, first, you break speech up into units according to a word that you're emphasizing, a word that's more stressed. Second, by changing your tone of voice, you can completely change the meaning of a text. So particularly with words like once or so or but or and, we might change the meaning of a text. Those are our connectors, and we'll probably emphasize them.
Yeah.
Third point, we link words up inside of a unit. There we go. My camera's, everything's backwards. I have to figure out where to put my hands. So inside of the unit is where we link words up, not between the units. So when we pause, there's no linking going on. So in the sentence, can you see it? The link is between see and it, and it sounds like a y. You wouldn't connect it to the next word, no matter what it is, because that's where we're going to use our pause, because the units have to be separated. So now let's go back to exercise 4. Victor, you're up first. Listen to me. Listen to me and tell me where I'm putting in the stress, the pauses. Are you ready, Victor?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. The first one I did for you. That's the main thing. And then, if you've got any questions afterwards, hopefully we'll still have time to go through a few of them. Is that okay? Listen a second time. That's the main thing. And then, if you've got any questions afterwards, hopefully we'll have time, or we'll still have time, to go through a few of them. Is that okay? First, Victor, tell me where you heard the pauses, between which words? Obviously between thing and,
yes.
But what else?
I think that...
Want to listen again?
Yes, can you repeat this, please?
Sure. By the way, if you were doing this at home, you would listen to it over and over again as much as you wanted to. But here we were kind of limited. So what I can do is maybe make a recording for you to try on your own if you'd like to practice this again. But listen again.
Okay.
That's the main thing. And then, if you've got any questions afterwards, hopefully we'll still have time to go through a few of them. Is that okay?
After between then and if.
Good.
Pause. And between them and is on the end of the.
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it?
Yes, and maybe after hopefully.
And after hopefully, yeah. Actually, there was another one too.
And before hopefully.
And before? Before what?
Before and after.
Before and after
Hopefully.
which word? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So in other words, the speech units are, and that's the main thing, 1. And then, 2. If you've got any questions afterwards, 3. Hopefully, 4. We'll still have time, 5. To go through a few of them, 6. Is that okay? 7.
Ah.
So in other words, there's 7 little units here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, what I'll do is, it's probably a good idea if I just give you the final version instead of just telling you, isn't it? 1 second. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can just take a quick cut and paste so you can see it. I'll give you the answers on the next page. You look at the top of page. Oh, maybe I can fit it here. Call this answers. You're going to see it on the next page. So if you scroll down to top of 12, you can see the same text with the little bars in to show you the pauses. Okay, here's the main thing. Victor, what happens with the 7th unit? Is that okay? What happens with the 7th unit? What did you notice about my voice? Is that a new idea in some way, or is it a continuation of the old idea?
Continue idea.
Really? Listen again. Listen again.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll still have time to go through a few of them. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Notice how my voice goes up, right?
Yes.
So when I say new idea, what I mean is that okay is actually a question, and it's separate from the rest of what you heard. So
Yeah.
I would call that a new idea in that sense. Not that it's a new subject, but the fact that we're doing something new. We're asking a question. All right? So, Tony, listen to number 2. Same thing. You're going to tell me where the units are. Like, you'll do exactly like I did. Oh, unit 1 is blah, blah, blah. Unit 2 is blah, blah, blah. Okay, are you ready, Tony?
Yes, teacher.
Here we go. Actually, I'm going to have to read this twice. I have to figure out how to say this myself. 1 second. Okay. She left. Wait, hold on a second. Do I want to say it like that? She left. I gotta figure out how I want to say this. 1 second. She left when she had a baby, and then decided not to go back, although the job had been kept open for her. Let me try it again a little bit more smoothly. She left when she had a baby, and then decided not to go back, although the job had been kept open for her. So the second time was a little bit better. So how many units do you think I said there? How many speech units do you think there are?
I think there are 5 or 6.
If you'd like to listen a third time. Very good. Yeah. Very good. There were actually
I
5.
will try to...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5. I said 5.
Okay. 1 is a pause is after left.
Go ahead, Tony.
Correct. 1 is after baby. 1 is after back. 1 is after although.
That's good. Okay. The first time I read it, I put a pause where I shouldn't have put a pause. So I think you're right. I paused after although, but that was my mistake. I shouldn't have. The second time I read it a little bit better. Let me give you the answers on page 12.
Okay.
You can see there. This is how I was trying to read it. She left when she had a baby. She left when she had a baby, and then decided not to go back, although the job had been kept open for her. So I shouldn't have paused after although, because the main thing is that explains why she didn't go back. So I wouldn't want to pause after although, but you're right. I think I did the first time. Okay, one last one for Giuseppe, then we're going to take a look at the monologue. Give me a second. Let me see how to say this. Okay, this is a kind of a strange sentence. Okay, Giuseppe, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. I have to figure out how to make this sound natural. I guess this is a woman talking to her husband or boyfriend. I'm not quite sure. Let's see how we can do this. Tom, dear, where's the advert for this calculator? Because I don't know the address, and I don't know who I've got to make the check payable to. Listen a second time. Tom, dear, where's the advert for this calculator? Because I don't know the address, and I don't know who I've got to make the check payable to. It's a little weird, but it works. What do you think, Giuseppe? How many units?
Okay. Tom, dear.
Yeah?
Where's the calculator? Between calculator and because?
Good?
Between address and?
Good?
And probably, I don't know who. Between no and who.
Okay.
And
There's
the
only
last one too.
There's supposed to be one after advert, but again, it might have been the way that I read it. I'm not sure. Just take a look at the top of 12, and you'll see the final version there for you. That's how it's supposed to be. It's a little bit easier if you listen to the recording here, because the recording is British English, and I'm going to have a different inflection. Okay, but not bad. I agree with you. It seems a little strange to break up advert and for this calculator, because for this calculator it acts like an adjective describing the kind of advert. But apparently that's what they did. So different people are going to read it differently. All right, so this was, sorry, let me just mark down my page number so I can quickly flip back and forth. Page number was 165. All right, I think that's all we need to do. Let me just double check. I think we're going to work on our monologue now. Give me just a second here. One second. Oh yeah, I've got a really famous one for you. I've got to share this one. Okay, one more thing I can't forget. Remember when we talked about how dividing things into units, dividing sentences into units can greatly change the meaning of a text. That's what we said in the beginning. So Nora, I've got a special one for you. Are you ready for a special one?
Yes.
This is one of the this is one of the most famous breaking sentences into units examples I could possibly think of. I hope I get this right. Give me just a second. Yeah, here we go. I think it goes like this. Okay. Yeah, let's put it like this. I want you to say, let me see. That's okay. I'll write the whole sentence. No, I won't. If I write the whole sentence, I'm going to give it away. Okay. I want you to read this sentence and tell me if there's more than one way to say it. So I'm going to give you two versions here, two sentences. Tell me if there's more than one way to say it, and if there is, I'll put in the spaces differently in each sentence. Okay? Read it the first time just to hear how it sounds. Read it.
Last night I shot an elephant in my pajamas.
Okay. Now what I want you to do is try to read it again and see if you're able to change the meaning of the sentence by putting in a pause in a different place.
Last night I shot an elephant in my pajamas.
Okay. In the second sentence, in the first sentence, I'm going to put the pause here because I'm going to put the pause here in the first sentence because that's how I heard you read it. Who's wearing the pajamas in sentence 1? You or the elephant?
Yeah, it seems like the elephant.
The elephant is wearing the pajamas. And who's wearing the pajamas in sentence 2? You or the elephant?
Me.
You. This is one of the famous examples from the Marx Brothers, from Groucho Marx. The joke is, last night I shot an elephant in my pajamas. And then he goes on to say what he was doing in my pajamas, I'll never know. There we go. So now you know. That's the joke. Okay. I couldn't resist. Let's take a look at our monologue. So what we're going to try to do is, there is punctuation in this monologue, but we're going to try to read it, and maybe we can try to divide it up into units. Maybe we can do the whole thing because it's short. I don't have a YouTube clip of this film. Didn't for it. Look to it on your own. Don't forget, on the top of the class, in the title, you can see which film it's from. The Girl Interrupted, like 15 years ago. Big film by Winona Ryder. We're going to read it once. No, I can have you read it. And then we're going to I'm going to ask you a few questions about what you think it's about, and then we'll go and try to divide it up. So, do you want to try it first, Nora?
I read that.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything special. Just read through it once so we can get a sense of what it's about, okay?
Okay. Declared healthy and sent back into the world. My final diagnosis. A recovered borderline. What that means, I still don't know. Was I ever crazy? Maybe. Or maybe life is. Crazy isn't being broken or swallowing a dark secret. It's you.
Wait. Swallowing
a dark secret. It's you or me. Amplified. If you ever told a lie and enjoyed it, or wished you could stay a child forever, they were not perfect, but they were my friend, and by the 80s, most of them were out, living lives. Some I've seen, some never again, but there isn't day my heart doesn't find them.
All right. So this is a short monologue from the film. 2 questions. The first is, what's it about? What do you think this is about? In other words, what do you think is going on? Who's speaking? In general, what do you think it's about? You can start, Nora, and the rest of you can give your opinions as well.
Let someone else start.
Okay, somebody else start. I can't see who's in the class right now. Oh, it's the same people. Okay, so any of you, Giuseppe, Vittorio, Tony, what's your general sense about who's speaking and the situation? What's your general sense? Remember, there's no right and wrong. We don't know the whole context.
Probably is
Or maybe
Tony, is that you?
Maybe someone that live together, or in a house where, like an hospital, or I don't know, a prison or something like that.
Right.
With other people.
Okay, and why do you think that? Think you're on the right track? What gives you that idea?
Because it seems that the guy has gone out. Has gone out, and so he's again in he lives again a normal life, and so maybe before was in a special situation like hospital, prison, or I don't know.
Absolutely. Or, more specifically, a mental hospital, right?
Yes.
Maybe a clinic, or what we call mental hospital. Okay. And one thing important, it's called Girl Interrupted, so you know it's not a guy, just from the title of the class. This is a young woman. It's from a famous book that was made into a film, early film with Angela Jolie before Tomb Raider. Second question. This is kind of important. What does borderline mean? Of course, borderline is not spelled like that. Sorry. Again, what's your guess about borderline? That's kind of important. If you don't know what it means, I'll explain it. But what do you think that means? In fact, I should say recovered borderline. Maybe that's a better way to say it. What do you think a recovered borderline means? Giuseppe, want to chime in? Because I think we cut you off earlier. What do you think a recovered borderline means? Because that is my final diagnosis. What's your guess, if you had to guess?
Recovered borderline. It's like...
Are they talking about crossing the border from Italy into Switzerland?
My father.
On a trek through the mountains, being guided only by their sense of adventure.
But it sounds for me. It sounds like not. It's like a feeling, such as feeling about the man who is going back to her.
Not a man though; it's a woman.
And she's going to.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seems to be connected to the word, was I ever crazy? Or maybe my life is crazy, isn't being broken. So borderline, I guess, means...
Between life, maybe, and...
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say between sanity and insanity. Right? So I agree that it's between two places. Between...
I said that because she said sent back into the world. I sense that she meant she wanted to die or something.
She probably did. In fact, in the film, I think she tries to commit suicide. I don't remember. I saw the film I don't even think I saw the film. I saw a part of the film. But I know a little bit more about it because I picked the monologue. So you're right. The borderline here is actually a clinical diagnosis. It's called borderline personality disorder, right? BPD. And it's a diagnosis which means that your personality is not stable. That you don't have more than one personality, but your sense of who you are changes, or it's not stable, or you don't feel secure in it. And it's a diagnosis which was new at the time, and they wrote a book about it, made a film, whatever. So, but basically it means between being sane and insane, or between being normal and whatever the opposite of normal is. Okay, so now that you know a bit about the monologue, and you know more or less how to divide things up into units, you're going to try this on your own. Because we're running out of time, I have to stop the class a little bit early because Verbling was very clear. They want us to always start on the hour. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to let you try this on your own, and we can listen to the results in the next class. You can either divide this up into units, send it to me as a text, or you can record it and I can correct your recording. Either way, I'll be happy to give you feedback. Or you could just wait till next week and do it in class as like a little performance. Let me see if I can get my screen sharing off. Okay. So you hold on to the link for this document, copy and paste the monologue, do your analysis, record it if you like, and you can then send me a message or send me a link, and I'll try to correct it between classes. Otherwise, wait until the next class and show me your work. Okay? That's going to be the plan because we've got to stop now. I'll be back in just a minute for the business class. We're going to start a new unit, and we'll probably finish one activity from the last unit as well. The new unit is all about motivation. Okay? See you next time on Verbally. Look at my new t-shirt. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.